I knew the laugh wasn't for me the second it left her mouth. We were at the firm's annual holiday mixer, maybe 20 people packed into that overpriced rooftop bar in River North. Laurel had one hand on a martini and the other on some guy's elbow. She turned toward me and said it like a punch to the chest, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Stop acting like you own me, Alan. You don't tell me who I talk to or where I go." Silence didn't follow. Laughter did. Not mine. The laughter came from my coworkers, grown adults in $1,000 shoes, snickering like teenagers. And me? I just stood there, Old Navy sport coat, bourbon in hand, ice barely melted. I didn't take a sip. I didn't speak. My jaw clenched so hard my molars ached, but I smiled. That tight, fake smile you throw out when your pride's bleeding down your neck and there's no towel in sight. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. She turned back to the guy she was chatting with, some client's cousin or whatever, and kept talking like I wasn't standing there, like I didn't exist. For 11 years, I'd carried that woman through every damn thing. Her business launch, her rebrand, her networking events where I smiled like a prop while she told the same joke about how I was the dependable one. Yeah, dependable. That was code for invisible. I left early, told Devin I had an early flight. Lie. I walked 4 blocks in the wind with no gloves, bourbon still in my hand, not a single sip taken. By 5:30 a.m., I was in the kitchen, blending her usual almond milk, banana, flaxseed, half a scoop of protein, no ice. She said it hurt her teeth. 11 years of this routine. Even after everything, my hands still moved on autopilot. Her glass sat in its spot by the fridge, clean and ready, like nothing had changed. The click of the blender was the only sound in the condo. My phone buzzed on the counter. Dana again, my lawyer. She'd called twice last night. I'd ignored both. Not because I was unsure, but because the plan was already in motion. Appointment at 10, paperwork prepped, deed in my name, utilities too. The condo Laurel called our place was mine, bought with the money I got after my dad passed. She always hated when I brought that up, said I held it over her. Maybe I did, but it was still the truth. I slept in the office, back pain all night, but I didn't care. I walked down the hall with the smoothie, past the guest room. She came out of the bathroom in leggings and that stupid Rise Plus grind tank top she always wore for spin class, hair in a ponytail. No shame, none. "Morning," she said, like we hadn't blown up our marriage 12 hours earlier. I handed her the smoothie. She took it without a thank you. "You coming to the gala tonight?" she asked between sips. "Black tie, so don't show up in that jacket." "Yeah," I said. She didn't catch the weight in my voice. Or maybe she didn't care. She left 5 minutes later, blowing past me with her gym bag slung over one shoulder like she was headed to war. The door slammed behind her. I stood in the foyer a second longer than I should have, then walked straight to the office and pulled out the folder Dana sent. Thick stack, divorce papers, financial disclosures, email printouts. This wasn't rage. This wasn't revenge. This was control. Laurel used to say I was too passive, that I didn't know how to fight for what I wanted. She was wrong. I didn't fight her because I trusted her. Big mistake. Now, I'd never been more awake in my life. I laid everything out on the dining table. The deed, the prenup she never read, the bank statements. She thought she knew the game. She didn't know the rules had changed. She made that gala sound like it was about appearances. What she didn't realize was it was going to be our last one. Not last of the year. Last, period. That afternoon I stopped by the bank. Confirmed the trust account Laurel had been eyeing for months was still untouched. I transferred it to a separate holding account under a new trustee, Dana's firm. Full lock. At home, I cleaned the condo top to bottom. Not out of pride, out of preparation. I wanted no loose threads, no leverage, no ambiguity. When she came back around 6, I was already dressed. Charcoal suit. Cufflinks she gave me 5 Christmases ago. Clean shave. She looked at me and paused for half a second. "Wow, you actually look sharp." I just nodded. Didn't return the compliment. She held up an emerald dress. "You mind if I wear this again? Total power move, right?" "Sure," I said, grabbing my keys. We left together, side by side, her smiling, unaware, me silent, locked in. By the end of the night, one of us was going to walk out free, and it sure as hell wasn't going to be her. We pulled up in the hired car just after 7. The place was already packed. String quartet near the doors, champagne flutes balanced on trays, and that suffocating smell of expensive perfume hanging in the air. Laurel straightened her emerald dress in the reflection of the hotel's glass door, the same one she wore when she humiliated me the night before. She called it iconic. Inside, people were already circling. She walked like she owned the floor, heels clacking across marble, smiling wide, showing teeth. I followed close behind, hands in my pockets, letting her play her part. Then I saw her, Maya, wearing an emerald dress almost identical to Laurel's. My first thought was that Laurel would lose it. 2 women in the same outfit? Catastrophe, right? But Laurel didn't flinch. Her smile didn't crack. If anything, she stood taller. Maya looked younger, obviously. Tighter skin, fresher smile, more bounce. She wore the diamond pendant Laurel always kept in the lockbox, the one Laurel told me she bought for her mother's birthday. It sparkled under the ballroom lights like a spotlight. Maya caught me staring and tilted her head, gave me this coy little grin, like she was in on the joke, like I was supposed to be impressed. Greg slid up beside me, sipping bourbon. Jesus, he muttered. She's got her intern dressed up like her replacement. I didn't say anything. I just clenched my jaw and nodded once. Laurel made her rounds. Lots of air kisses, hand squeezes, fake laughs. When we posed for photos, she clung to my arm like she was trying to make sure I didn't float away. But every time someone else spoke, her eyes drifted. Always to Maya, not with worry. Not like she thought Maya might embarrass her. No, it was calculation. She was watching her work the room, watching how people looked at her, judging the impact, measuring the buzz. Maya was surrounded. A small group of junior execs laughing at everything she said, the pendant glinting like a trophy. Laurel leaned toward me during one of the photo ops. Doesn't she look incredible? I helped her pick it out. She needed the boost. Let her borrow it. So it wasn't an accident. It was a rollout, a test drive. I glanced back at Maya and caught her brushing her fingers over the diamond like it was hers. It probably was. I could feel the back of my neck burning, but my hands stayed steady, posed for photos, shook hands, said polite things to people I didn't care about. Greg circled back around later with 2 drinks, handed me one. You good? Peachy, I said. He gave me a look. You sure? 'Cause this is some textbook sociopath shit right here. She's just setting the stage, I said. Let her. Across the room, Laurel stood beside Maya now. They were laughing together. Laurel pointed out someone in the crowd, and Maya nodded like a soldier getting her marching orders. It wasn't mentorship, it was grooming. I walked away from Greg and headed toward the bar. Took the long way, past the silent auction tables and under the chandelier, Laurel once said. Made this her dream venue. At the bar, I ordered water, kept my head low, took in the room from a distance. She wasn't hiding anything. That was the part that cut. Laurel was treating this like a brand launch. She was replacing me, and she wanted me to witness it. Dress and all, a soft laugh came from behind me. Maya again. She'd wandered up without Laurel. Mr. Reed, she said, like I was one of her dad's friends. You look sharp tonight. Thanks, I said, not looking at her. Funny thing about emerald, she added, swirling her drink. Some people can wear it. Some people own it. I turned then, met her eyes. You wearing the necklace now too? She smiled. She said it was time. Of course she did. I didn't reply, just walked off. Found Greg, nodded once. He raised an eyebrow. So what now? Now? Now it was her turn to stand in the spotlight. I just had to wait for the music to slow. Greg peeled off to flirt with someone from legal, and I wandered toward the mezzanine, just to breathe. But I didn't get 5 steps before Laurel grabbed my wrist. Firm, possessive. There you are, she said, smiling like it was all for show. There's someone I want you to meet. She tugged me across the floor like a show dog, past a crowd of execs, until we landed in front of a guy in a tailored beige suit and no tie. Casual beard, casual ego. Nate. Alan, this is Nate, she said. The guy I've been telling you about. He gave me a handshake like he wanted to prove something. One of those tight 2-pump deals guys like him think means power. I've heard great things, he said. Not from me, I said flat. Laurel laughed, a little too loud. We've been working on something big, Nate jumped in. Game changer. It's a SaaS platform that rethinks onboarding for modern HR teams. You know how bloated the hiring process is? We strip it down, remove friction, AI-driven prompts, streamlined verification, day one productivity. He said it like he was reciting it to a TED Talk crowd. Laurel beamed. We're calling it Start Right. Nate handles dev. I'm leading brand and client acquisition. I didn't nod, didn't smile. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. We want you in, early. We're offering friends and family shares. There it was. How much? I asked. 320, she said, for entry-level stake, convertible note structure. That number didn't come out of nowhere. It was exactly what was left in the trust from my dad's retirement, a fact I knew she knew. She'd been circling it for months, subtle hints, talks about legacy, doing something together, bullshit dressed up as a partnership. I'll need to see the business plan, I said, keeping my voice flat. Nate scoffed, actually scoffed. Come on, man. It's not about paperwork. It's about belief. Big ideas don't wait around for cautious money. Laurel nodded like they rehearsed it. It's our chance, Alan, finally, to build something together instead of just supporting other people's dreams. I looked at her, then him. Nate with his startup swagger and buzzwords, acting like 300 grand was pocket change. Laurel using her sparkle voice, her eyes all soft, like this was about love. You two rehearsed that? I asked. Laurel blinked. What? That line? Belief? Chance? Build something together. You practice that? Nate stepped in. You don't have to be snide. It's a good offer. And frankly, we're giving you first look out of respect. Respect, I repeated. For my money or for my father's? He held my stare too long, a beat too confident. I believed in something once, I said quietly. Didn't end well. Then I turned, walked away, didn't wait for a response. Laurel didn't follow. I pushed through a crowd near the string quartet, trying to shake the heat from my face. My chest was tight, not with anger, but with clarity. I finally saw it. They didn't care about the money. Not really. They just thought I'd say yes, because I always had. Because I was the steady one, the boring one, the man who made smoothies and stayed quiet while she stole the spotlight. I found a corner by the silent auction tables and stood there long enough to stop my hands from shaking. Laurel didn't come looking. Nate didn't either. They had made their pitch, and when it didn't land, they moved on. Probably already working the next idiot in a suit with a trust fund and a soft spot. I stared out at the crowd, all these polished people clinking glasses and smiling wide, and felt something settle in me. A cold line of steel down the spine, no more soft spots, no more second chances. By Monday, they'd know exactly what kind of man they tried to hustle. I made my way toward the dessert table, mostly to put space between me and the pitch, and to get the hell away from the smell of Nate's cologne. Something fake woodsy and expensive. I didn't even want cake. I just needed distance, clarity. And then she showed up. Laurel. She moved fast, heels snapping, jaw tight, glass of red in hand, like she'd practiced this scene in her head a dozen times. You embarrassed me in front of Nate, she snapped. Not even a greeting. I didn't respond, didn't look at her. I picked up a plate, grabbed the smallest square of cheesecake just to give my hands something to do. You think walking away from us like that made you look strong? She pushed. It made you look insecure, weak. I mean, Jesus, Alan, it was just a conversation. Still quiet, just breathing. She stepped closer, voice sharper now. You act like you own me. You don't tell me where I go or who I'm with. That did it. Heads turned. Not everyone, but enough. The two women near the espresso bar stopped talking. A guy in a velvet tux at the end of the table looked over his shoulder. The pianist slowed down like he hit the brakes on Moon River. I set my glass down. You're right, I said, loud enough for anyone who wanted to hear. We're done. Gasps. Real ones. 2 or 3 people actually flinched like someone dropped a tray. Greg, 3 steps behind her, blinked and said it out loud. Damn! Laurel's face didn't break right away. She laughed once, short, shaky. Don't be dramatic. We're at a Gala. I didn't answer. I buttoned my jacket and stepped around her. She grabbed my arm, tight. Alan, you're not doing this here. I looked down at her hand until she let go. This is your legacy? She hissed. Throwing a tantrum because someone challenged your ego? I leaned in, just enough that only she could hear. You chose your audience. Then I walked, straight through the middle of the ballroom, past coworkers, vendors, even Dana's assistant. who gave me a wide-eyed nod like she just watched a wreck in real time. Nobody stopped me. Elevator was waiting when I got there. I didn't look back. Doors closed. I exhaled for the first time in 20 minutes. Down in the lobby, the air felt different, lighter, colder. I handed my valet ticket to the kid without a word. He didn't say anything either, just jogged off like he knew I wasn't in the mood for small talk. The car pulled up 2 minutes later. I slid into the driver's seat, shut the door, and didn't start the engine right away. I just sat there, no music, no noise, just the sound of my own pulse and the faint slap of late December wind against the windshield. When I finally pulled out, I didn't rush, just eased into traffic, turned left onto Michigan, then cut over to Lakeshore Drive. Turn signal clicked steady. That sound always hit different at night. She had said it like a weapon. You don't tell me where I go or who I'm with. Funny thing was, I'd never tried to. I never told her what to do. I just assumed she wouldn't need reminding. That's on me. The skyline was glowing to my right, but I didn't look. Eyes stayed locked on the road. Hands steady at 10 and 2. Somewhere back at the hotel, Laurel was probably spinning it, telling people I was under stress, maybe even crying a little to win back the sympathy. She was good at that, flipping scenes before the credits rolled. But not tonight. Tonight the lights were on, and nobody missed what they saw. I parked in the garage, walked up the back stairwell like I had 1,000 times before. Key turned smooth. Inside, the condo was clean, quiet, untouched. I dropped my jacket on the back of the chair, unbuttoned my cuffs, and stood at the window with my hands in my pockets. Not thinking, not doubting, just done. I didn't sleep when I got home, just changed out of the suit and called the locksmith. "Tanya speaking," she said on the second ring. Sharp voice, straight to it. "You still do emergency lock work? Depends on the locks. And the reason. I want 3 changed. Tonight. Condo downtown. Ex-wife access. Send the address," she said. By midnight, she was at my door, in boots and a flannel, gear bag slung across her shoulder, like she was kicking in a door in Fallujah. "Reinforced deadbolts," she said, scanning the hallway. "You want it done right or fast?" "Both," she nodded. "Then stay out of my way." I let her work while I grabbed the moving boxes I'd stashed in the hall closet. 12 of them, clean, folded, ready. Started in the bedroom. Shoes first. Heels she wore once and called investment pieces. Half of them still had price tags, boxed and labeled, footnotes, books next. All the branding books she never actually read, just displayed like they came with the coffee table. Boxed, narratives. The closet held her awards. Plaques from half-baked speaking gigs and LinkedIn panels. Boxed, self-praise. The suitcase from the guest room, still half-zipped. I dumped the contents into a box without sorting. Her vanity drawer was stuffed with receipts. Not makeup receipts, hotel charges. Hyatt, Marriott, one boutique place in River North. All booked Thursdays. All for 3 p.m. Every single one said client meeting. Boxed, client services. I paused at the yoga mat, dusted, untouched. Her fancy water bottle was still full. But the hotel loyalty account, I checked online, platinum tier, boxed, spin class. By 2:30, Tanya finished. 3 new locks, reinforced, numbered keys. She tested each one twice. If she shows up, she's not getting through without a battering ram. I handed her cash and a bottle of water. "Appreciate it." She nodded, eyes still on the hallway. "You expecting her tonight? Wouldn't be surprised. Then don't open the door, and don't apologize for being done." She left without another word. I kept going, packed the rest of her bathroom stuff. Skincare junk, 6 kinds of shampoo, even the tiny bottle of perfume she claimed was discontinued, but still managed to restock every 2 months. Boxed, essence. By 3 a.m., every box was outside the front door, sealed, stacked, labeled like I was running inventory for a warehouse fire sale. I stood over it all for a minute. No hesitation. No second thoughts, just precision. Harold, the overnight doorman, rolled up with a dolly, still in his coat. Didn't ask questions. "You need help getting it to the curb?" he asked. "I just need it gone." He nodded once. "I'll store it downstairs till morning. If she shows up, she can come collect. If not," he shrugged, "someone will." We loaded the boxes, quiet, efficient. No talk of what they held or why they had to leave. When we finished, he dusted his hands and looked me square in the eye. "You all right?" I will be, I said. That was enough for him. He rolled the dolly back toward the elevator, the wheels squeaking down the hallway like a slow exhale. I closed the door, locked it twice, stood in the silence, and exhaled for real. By 5:40 a.m., I had the email open. Subject line, for clarity. I typed slow, clean, no intro, no emotional preamble, just a bullet-pointed list of attachments. Audio clip. Air Bill 18. Gala confrontation. Screenshots Laurel, our Nate text thread. April through December. PDF, Laurel's fake invoice drafts, 3 files, JPEGs, Peninsula, hotel, lobby and suite, 1104, dated. Financial overlay. Dana prepared, shared account activity versus firm reimbursements. 64 recipients, colleagues, clients. Her agency's internal list. BLCC'd, her firm's CEO, our accountant, 2 of her highest paying brand partners. Everything she wanted to keep private, made public. Nothing doctored, nothing exaggerated, just facts, names, timestamps. I read it 3 times, once for tone, once for errors, once to make sure I still had the spine to hit send. Then I did, and sat back. The sun hadn't even cracked over the lake yet. The condo was quiet, still smelled like cardboard and lemon cleaner from the all-night purge. I made coffee, French press, strong, no creamer, poured it into the plain white mug she used to mock, the one she called embarrassingly basic. I liked that mug. It never pretended to be more than it was. At 6:45, the buzzing started. First came the texts. Alan, can we talk? Please don't do this. I didn't answer. Then came the knock. 3 short ones. Polite like she thought maybe it would go different if she was gentle. I didn't move. The camera feed on my phone lit up. She was standing there, hair messy, wearing the same coat from the gala over a wrinkled outfit. But the confidence was gone. She looked like someone waking up from a dream she didn't know was a nightmare. Then her voice came through the intercom. Small, flat. What did you do? I sipped my coffee. Set the record straight. She stepped closer. Alan, please. I stayed quiet. You're ruining everything, she said. Do you understand that? I said nothing. Just let the silence drag. She knocked again, softer this time. Let me explain, please. Still nothing. Eventually she stopped talking, just stood there, staring, waiting. Then, slowly, she slid her heels back on, realized she couldn't walk in them, then took them off again. I watched her turn away, shoulders slumped, shoes in hand like a kid who lost a recital. She left barefoot. The door never opened. 10 minutes later, my phone lit up with replies to the email. Dana. Well played. Let me know if you want to forward media contacts. Greg. Holy hell, she's done. Her firm's CFO. We'll be in touch. Thank you for the transparency. By 8, I had 8 unread voicemails. 2 from Laurel, 1 from Nate, 5 from numbers I didn't recognize. I deleted all of them without listening. Laurel's agency pulled down their Instagram page by 9. Website followed. Screenshots from the email were already circulating in a Slack channel I still had access to. A few GIFs. A few yikes. One guy said, he went full scorched earth. Respect. Maya didn't say a word. Not a single text. I imagine she got the email too. At 10:12, I saw one final ping. An internal memo, leaked to someone, from Laurel's boss. We are aware of a situation involving Laurel Price. Effective immediately, she is on indefinite leave. The firm does not condone breach of contract, client misrepresentation, or internal deception of any kind. I saved that one, printed it out, tacked it to the corkboard in my office right next to the clean copy of the divorce petition Dana sent me last month. Didn't feel like victory, didn't feel like payback. It felt like someone finally turned off the music at a party that should have ended years ago. That afternoon, I went downstairs. Harold was finishing his shift. He gave me a nod. She showed? He asked. Briefly. She cry? Not really. He smirked. She looked like the type who'd cry pretty. She looked like someone who just realized the room was never hers. He didn't say anything else. Just handed me the mail and walked off. I went back upstairs. The inbox stayed quiet. The hallway did too. 2 days later, we were in a downtown conference room. White walls, glass table, silence thick enough to choke on. Laurel sat across from me in a beige blazer she probably hoped made her look reasonable. Her lawyer looked like a real estate agent with a law degree. Nice shoes, nervous smile. "We're hoping for an amicable resolution," he said, setting down a folder like it held leverage. Dana didn't smile, never did. She sat beside me, calm, collected, voice sharp enough to cut drywall. "We have breach of fiduciary trust, defamation, misuse of joint funds. He's offering silence in exchange for peace." Her lawyer blinked. "Excuse me?" Dana laid it out. "He won't pursue charges, won't take it to court, won't go public beyond what's already out there. In return, she gets 3 months of rent on the condo unit. That's it. No alimony, no equity, no buyout, no claim on shared investments." Laurel didn't speak. Her jaw clenched. "We believe that's a bit aggressive," her lawyer said. Dana didn't flinch. "We believe it's generous." I kept my hands folded on the table. No twitch, no glare, just steady. Laurel finally spoke, voice flat. "That condo was our home." I looked her dead in the eye. "It's paid for by my father's trust. Deeds in my name. Always was." Her lawyer shifted. "Laurel built her business there. There's value. She built lies," Dana cut in, "and billed them to clients. He has the invoices, screenshots, witnesses. She's lucky this is civil." The room went cold. Laurel stared at the table, then at me. "You were always good at making a scene." I leaned in slightly. "You made the scene, I just turned on the lights." Her face cracked then, just for a second. Not tears, not yet, but the kind of stillness that happens right before someone knows they've lost the room. Dana pushed the folder forward. "You have 24 hours. After that, we escalate." Her lawyer picked it up, eyes flicking through pages like they'd somehow change. They didn't. Laurel didn't look at them. She looked at me. "So that's it? I get my boxes and a timer?" I didn't blink. "You get the life you built. All of it." Her lip twitched. "What about Nate?" I almost laughed. "He's your partner. Hope he invests." Silence stretched. Even the HVAC hum felt louder. Dana stood first. "We'll wait for your response by noon tomorrow. Any delay, and we consider that a rejection." Her lawyer nodded stiffly. "That we'll be in touch." Laurel stood slower, like her knees weren't quite steady. She glanced at me one more time, like she was hoping I'd flinch. I didn't. We walked out first. Dana's heels clicked across the tile. Elevator ride down was silent until the doors closed. "You good?" she asked. "I am now." I was halfway through heating leftovers when Harold texted me. "You'll want to see this. Rooftop. 11 p.m. Didn't say who, didn't say why, but Harold didn't waste words. I hadn't planned on going. Wasn't in the mood for forced New Year, New Me speeches and champagne with people who still called my ex brilliant. But something in that message stuck. So I showered, shaved, wore the same navy suit Laurel once called too blue collar for black tie. This time, I paired it with a charcoal shirt, no tie, clean, confident, comfortable. Elevator to the rooftop was packed. When the doors opened, the cold hit like a slap. Sharp, honest, necessary. People turned. Not everyone, just enough to notice. Quiet nods, shoulder claps, clinks of glasses. It felt like walking back into a room I'd been pushed out of. But now I was holding the keys. Greg waved me over near the heaters. "Didn't think you'd show. Didn't think I'd be invited," I said. He laughed. "Please, you're the only reason half of us came." At 11:45, she arrived. Laurel, with Nate. She wore a knockoff version of one of her old designer dresses. Same silhouette, cheaper fabric, different neckline. It looked good if you didn't know better, but I knew. Nate trailed behind her like a dog who'd been yelled at on the way up. She scanned the crowd like she was waiting for a reaction. It didn't come. No one looked. Or rather, no one looked at them. Even Maya, leaning against the far rail with a freelance badge clipped to her coat, turned her back and kept sipping her drink. Laurel's eyes caught mine for half a second. She didn't smile, didn't frown. She just saw me. I raised my glass, not in greeting, just in acknowledgement. The CEO of her old agency, the one she used to call a glorified numbers guy, walked right past her and shook my hand. "Smart move walking," he said. She was becoming a liability. We just didn't know how deep it went. "She did," I replied. He nodded once and disappeared into the crowd. I stayed by the rail, watching the city light up below. Wind sliced across the roof, but I didn't feel cold. Not anymore. At 11:58, Laurel finally walked past me. Not toward me, past me. No words, just her perfume fading behind her like the end of a chapter. Harold climbed up on a speaker box right before midnight, glass raised high. He looked around the rooftop like he was counting who mattered. "To clean slates," he said, "and solid locks." Everyone laughed. I smiled for real this time. The countdown started. 10, 9, 8. Laurel and Nate stood near the far wall. She didn't lean into him. He didn't try to hold her hand. 3, 2, 1. Fireworks burst over the lake. People kissed, toasted, shouted. I just stood there, watching the sky. Harold came up beside me with a refill. "Told you you'd want to see it. You were right." He nodded, like that settled it. "Happy New Year, Alan." "Happy New Year, Harold." We clinked glasses. Clean slate, solid lock, better view. The fireworks died down. The rooftop cleared. I went home alone, and it felt right. That was 6 months ago. Laurel's out of my life. Not halfway, not circling back. Gone. The condo's mine again. No perfume in the hallway. No hair ties on the sink. No fake smiles over morning coffee. I replaced her smoothie blender with a French press, one of those heavy glass ones with a metal plunger. Coffee tastes cleaner now, stronger. I bought a dog, German Shepherd, rescued him from a shelter on a random Tuesday, named him Bishop, loyal as hell, follows me from room to room like it's his job, sleeps by the door, never whines. Dana sends updates every so often. Yet Laurel's firm let her go. Quietly, Dana said, which is lawyer code for "don't sue us, just vanish." Nate's startup collapsed. Audit caught double billing, fake user numbers, the usual tech trash fire. Last I heard, he was pitching a new wellness AI to board investors in Phoenix. Maya mailed a handwritten apology, actual paper, thick envelope, neatly folded, 4 paragraphs, mostly regret. I read it once, didn't reply. Some things don't earn answers. Every morning now, I drink coffee on the balcony. 1 sugar, black, no talking, no planning. Just the sound of traffic below and Bishop snoring at my feet. I don't think about Laurel much, but when I do, it's not anger, not sadness, it's relief. She was noise, a performance, a constant storm of spinning stories and rebranded reality.